Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about a lot of weekend maneuverings by Donald Trump and the House and the Senate over the release of the Epstein files. And this just in, the latest is Trump says the House should take a vote on the release of the Epstein files. Now, forgive me for being a little cynical about this and trying to consider the ulterior political motive. There obviously is one. So what's the kind of Machiavellian calculations? The number one point is once this discharge petition was signed, it's coming up for a vote in the House in due course. There's a little bit of procedural finagling before then. But this is the kind of provision that legislators have tried mightily to hide their heads in the sand. But now when it comes up, there's going to be a cascade, and there already is a cascade of Republicans who wouldn't dare be on the record as being against the release of these files, especially since the dynamic is different here. The way Trump has been able to keep them corralled is by threatening a primary with the MAGA folks. Well, the MAGA folks here are by and large for release. So you see basically craven legislators running for the exit and wanting to vote for release, notwithstanding that their leader, Mike Johnson, shut down the House to avoid this vote and to try to help Trump. But at this point, now that the maneuvering has happened and the Dems have, after a lot of delay by Johnson to avoid swearing in a new member, now it's happening. And so that vote is going to occur tomorrow, and it's going to be overwhelming. So now Trump, who always wants to win and declare victory, does this really transparent switcheroo that nobody could credit. I mean, he spent, even over the weekend, he was doing everything he could to keep it and these materials from coming out, including this maneuver, a command to Pam Bondi that there be an investigation, a hard-charging investigation of Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, prominent Democrats whose names wind up also in these emails with Epstein and emerged in the 20,000 emails that the Republicans released after the Dems released 3. Again, none of this yet is the mother lode that the DOJ and FBI have. But Trump orders it, and again, just complete cynical reversal of field by the DOJ. Bondi had asserted there's nothing to investigate here, etc. All of a sudden, Trump says investigate. Investigate what? There's independent reason to release the files, but they're not in order to charge crimes that happened in 2011, the statute of limitations having long since run. But somehow now the president, knowing nothing, and, what a good illustration of why you don't want the president in the know and coordinating on specific investigations, as happens here. He just says, investigate my Democratic enemies. That's how we'll solve this. Bondi says, yes, sir, appoints a loyalist, someone who's emerging anyway, Jay Clayton in Manhattan, as someone who will tow Trump's barge, as it were. Got nothing to investigate. What's the possible crime, etc. But part of the strategy might be to be able to say when it's time to release, oh, no, we can't do it. There's an ongoing criminal investigation. So that's certainly seems a part of the thinking, potentially, if they can get away with it. There's no real criminal investigation. It's completely threadbare. But will they somehow be able to claim it? Okay, so he tries to fight. Don't let the discharge petition happen. Calls Laura Boebert to the White House to keep her from doing it. Too late. It passes. Then he says criminal investigation of Democrats. And now he says, oh, once it's 100% clear that he's going to lose in the House, that's sort of axiom number one, don't lose. And so he wants to make it seem that this is what he wanted all along. Now, between here and the release of the files are different maneuvers, and it's hard to see how Trump, consistent with what he's just said, we've got nothing to hide, let's release these files, how he navigates this situation. But we have first the fact that the Department of Justice could release them tomorrow. No vote is necessary. So some members of the House are already saying, Mr. President, you think it's a good idea? There's nothing to hide. Just pick up the phone, call Pam Bondi and say release them, and it's done an hour later. There's nothing to it. The only reason the House has done this vote is because you guys have been so resistant. So that's for starters. What's he gonna say to that kind of pressure? Back in the legislative process, even after the House takes the vote, that he will now want to position himself to be seen as having supported and even ordered up. It's a little bit unclear with this kind of discharge petition, particularly because it's just calling on the administration to do something that it doesn't need congressional approval to do. It's a little bit unclear what happens in the Senate. So he may have some hope that there would be a filibuster proof, that is to say that there would not be 60 senators to vote for the release. But man, oh man, this is the same kind of dynamic. They've been trying to do anything but confront this issue. And now if it comes up to them, there may well be the same kind of cascading. If they really have to go on the record, who the hell wants to go on the record? And once Trump has said we have nothing to hide, what possible justification are senators now going to say to oppose the release of the files? Okay. Nevertheless, he may sort of hope or work things behind the scenes. It would be the height of, incredibly transparent and brazen corruption and Machiavellian tactics to somehow work against it in the Senate. But, the American people have given him such rope for inconsistency and lies. That could be the idea. Or, so now say the Senate passes it. What happens now? It's on his desk. Now, again, he doesn't need to sign because it's just a matter of basically exhorting him to release. He could just do it. But is there some way? But he could also veto the bill. You hear people in the House saying we have a veto-proof majority, even if he does. I don't know about the Senate, though, a veto-proof majority. But in any event, it's just completely Alice in Wonderland stuff. He's now doing, a temporary kind of getting ahead of the House and the charge. But how he's going to handle separate steps from here and avoid releasing them, for instance, talking about the criminal investigation. I mean, at this point, especially given what's always been one of the big points about the Epstein investigation, that you actually have people in the MAGA coalition who want these things released. He's come out very strongly. We have nothing to hide. That's going to be fed back to him repeatedly. I don't know what card he thinks he can play in coming days to stop this freight train now, but having himself said we have nothing to hide, man, oh man, I don't see how he gets away with continuing to oppose it. And even Trump, even with MAGA, will look incredibly hypocritical, and that he's pulling out stops to hide things. So this is, I think, a pretty big reversal that it's hard now to see how they kind of stop the momentum of this train before everything is released. We'll see in short order how they try to play this Jay Clayton investigation card, but man, oh man, nope, it's a total joker, and I don't think anybody would credit it. So I think this is the pivot point on the dynamic now, and he will be very much on the defensive, and it still stay that way unless and until the files are released. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.